All right, so here's a bare bones, unedited. Didn't even comb my hair today or shave. Well, I don't shave this anyway, but I didn't shave this part. I just kind of got up about, I don't know, 2 hours ago. It's about 2 p.m. Well, it's 15 till 2 p.m. on Friday. I hadn't posted in a while, so I wanted to update you on the progress. Um, Today I'm basically off from teaching, and so I thought I'd jump on here and make a quick video. And I was like, I look terrible. I don't care. It's just me, and just me and you. I want to talk to you about some stuff. First thing I want to talk to you about is what I've been doing. A couple videos ago, before the conjunction video, which is basically one of the last parts of speech videos. I might have another one here pretty soon about something. There are some more advanced topics I can bring up, but for the most part, I'm going to probably switch mostly to writing stuff because I've been really working hard on my output and getting stuff out there. Most of you know, if you follow me, that you know that I just released Green Mage, the fourth book in the Tournament of Mages series, just a few days ago, and it's doing pretty well. I need to update this poster because that's the old cover. I need to move it over there to the other side of the room, put my new cover up. But anyway, so what I've been working on, I told you in like the video before last about my writing, and these videos now will probably just be about writing. I told you that I was working on Gray Mage, and I'd show that me actually working on it, and I'm still planning on doing that. But what I did was I moved Gray Mage and White Mage slightly, about a month away, because I was making my schedule a little too tight. I'm trying to give myself Saturdays off because so I don't burn out, because before I was working 7 days a week, and when I write, it doesn't feel like work to me. So I get up like I did today. I end up getting up, fairly late. I got up at like 11:30 today, and that may seem late to you, but I stay up until like 2 or 3, sometimes 4, writing, because I find the best time to write, for me anyway, is the night hours, because there's no one texting me, there's no one bothering me, there's no car noise outside, because I live on a dead end street, but for some reason it's like the busiest dead end street in all America. It's like, and trucks and everything going back and forth, and so it's kind of distracting. So at night, from about 10 or 11 p.m. on, for about 4 or 5 hours, I write on and off. I alternate between writing a couple hours or writing an hour, and then I'll take a little break watching YouTube or something. Here lately, I've been watching Little House on the Prairie, kind of a guilty pleasure, because when I was growing up as a Gen X, Little House on the Prairie was a big thing, and so it's kind of taking me back. It's a little nostalgic. I was fortunate enough. Everybody always wants Michael Landon's character, Charles Ingalls, to be their actual father. Well, I was lucky enough to grow up with a father that was just like that. It was great like that. But so it's kind of nostalgic for me. So I take a break and watch that for an hour, then I get back to writing. So basically, what's happened is I moved Gray Mage and White Mage slightly. I didn't move them a lot, and I've got it all planned in my bullet journal. And so all I did was I just moved it some. And the reason why I did that is because I'm so close. See, there's my, well, you can't see it. Can't see it. There's my main schedule. You can see that I changed a lot of stuff. It says Fury instead of Gray. I marked out Gray, but Fury. The reason why is because I'm on the 5th book of my epic fantasy series, and I'm about to show you here in just a second where I'm at on that and why I kind of switched it around a little bit. And then here in June, starting with the 11th, which is here, it's hard to do here. I start Gray Mage again. I got all planned out, and then White Mage. So basically, Gray Mage will come out. The way I have it planned now, Gray Mage will come out on about the end of July, I think, instead of the end of June. It'll come out the end of July, and then I switched August around to White Mage. So that will end up being September 1st now. And I did that because I'm trying to write. I already have like 13 books out there. I'm trying to do 20 by the end of December, 20 novels. And that's not counting my 2 writing books, my grammar book and then my writing book. I don't count those as my novels. So trying to do 20 novels by the end of December. So the reason why I switched gears, and I'm going to show you now, is let me bring this over. Okay, where's that edit file? Okay, if you watch my video on how I organize this stuff, you know that I keep an edit file. And the edit file is a file that has my book, and it has all of the chapters off to the side. I use the view in the navigation pane where I can see and maneuver between the chapters very easily. So this is Fury of the Lich. It's book 5, the final book. I've got a prequel, and I've got books 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now I just released book 4, Undead Inheritance. I released that just a couple of days or maybe a week after Green Mage. So I released like 2 books all at once out of both series. So I released the 4th book in the Tournament of Mages series, and I released the 4th book in the Shadows of the First Trine, which is the epic fantasy book. These are longer books. These are longer books than the Tournament of Mages. The Tournament of Mages it's a book about each mage. So my goal for those is 50,000 words each, because that's the minimum. I've always seen that as being the minimum to be a novel. And so a lot of times people will call them novellas. I see it sometimes when I see reviews for them, they'll say novellas, but really they're novels. They're just short novels. They're small novels. But novella is usually between 30,000 and 50,000 words. And so I always try to make them, they're usually around 50 to 51,000 words each. And that's not including the glossary. If I put the glossary on there, they're usually about 52,000, 53,000. But anyway, so the epic fantasy, I did have them around 100,000, but I've redone them to where they're around 80, 85,000. So if you look down here at the word count of Fury of the Lich, which is book 5, you can see I'm at 73,619. So it's going to end up being about 85,000 words. So right now I am editing. I'm on around chapter 3. So what I've been working on is I released Green Mage. Then I took a couple of days off because releasing Green Mage was like a harrowing experience, harrowing path, get it? And it was tough. So I got that, and so I had to take a breather a couple of days. And then after I did that, I got to work on the finishing touches. I had to write 3 chapters in Undead Inheritance to finish it. So I wrote those 3 chapters, got it finished, got it edited, got it formatted correctly, and released it. It's most of the material that's been released before, so I didn't release it with a lot of fanfare. I didn't do a release, a book release thing on that, or I didn't do a big book release on Green Mage either. I'm just been getting organic sales. I didn't do a big hullabaloo, which I probably will be doing after this book is done. I'll probably be doing an actual release party and release something like that. I'm about to show you guys for the first time. I'm about to do a cover reveal. It's already out. If you've followed me on other like Instagram, or you follow me on other channels, then you've probably already seen the cover for Fury of the Lich and Undead Inheritance. But if you just follow me here on YouTube, then you're about to see it for the first time. So anyway, so back to this. What I'm doing now is I'm on chapter 3 here. Once I finished Undead Inheritance, I didn't really take much time off, like one day. Then I jumped right into Fury of the Lich, which I already had, as you can see, mostly written. Now, if you notice, there's a big gap right here. This is the ending stuff. This is the tie-up and the wrap-up and stuff. This has a little bit of that wrap-up already in it, where you tie up all the loose strings from the whole entire series. And I've done a lot of it here, but this is the rest of it that I've been kind of, I have it outlined, but I just haven't really written it yet. So as you can tell, I'm about 6 chapters. And my chapter is usually about 1,800 words. So if you do the math, let me pull the calculator up. So if I do the math, then 6 chapters times 1,800 words, if I could do this correctly, 1,800 equals about times 6 is about 10,800 words, plus my 73,619. That will make this book come out to around right at 84,000. So I'll probably, some of the chapters might be a little bigger, some might be a little smaller. So it'll end up being about 85,000 words, which is what I usually shoot for when it's all done. But so this is why I switched to Fury, and I gave myself a lot of time on Fury because more time than I'm going to need. Because those tight deadlines I was imposing on myself, that like when I did with Green Mage, that was tough, and I had to keep postponing and stuff. So I'm starting to learn my lesson and not schedule my deadlines so close together. That's why I moved Gray Mage and White Mage a little bit, but I just did that so that it's more doable, because I'm absolutely 100% committed to them. So if any of you are like, oh, you moved it a month, well, you have to understand I am 100% committed because my goal is 20 books by the end of December, and I've got it all planned out. As you saw in my little bullet journal, I have it all planned out for the end of the year. So I know what books are coming when. I spent a couple of days finishing my outlines and stuff like that and working on those. For the most part, there's a couple of gaps here and there. I need to work on a little bit more. But Fridays and Saturdays, I'm completely off. I don't teach on those days. I teach Sunday through Thursday. So these are my days to work on this stuff. So it won't take me that long. What I'm doing now is I go through this edit file. And the reason why it's called an edit file is this is what I edit. So this is also what I send to the editor. But I'm on chapter 3 myself. So what I do is I self-edit first. I write the stuff and I self-edit. Now I've not been with this book for a while. I just finished Undead Inheritance, the 4th book. So I kind of know what's going on, but I don't remember all the stuff I did to tie it up because I'm like that. I don't remember everything I write. So going through this editing phase allows me to remember where I'm at and what I'm doing. I still, the 5th book in a series that's 6 books long, because the prequel and then 1 through 4 is already done. So I have to go back and refer to those quite a bit. That's one of the reasons why I keep this edit file, and I'll show you what I mean. Well, not edit file, my storyboard. Where's my storyboard? Here it is. So that's why I do this. This is kind of building upon what I've told you before for those of you who haven't seen my how I organize my novels video, then you don't know about this. So if you've seen that video, then you already know I do this. But I write what I call storyboards. That's another call them Bible. Storyboard and character Bible is what it is. I put all the characters down. This one doesn't have it, but a lot of times up here in the front part of it, if there's new characters and a lot of new characters, I will put a character Bible up here just to keep them straight. Things like eye color, hair color, personality traits, things like that. I'll put it like the beginning so I can refer to it easily. It's like a reference sheet for me. And then here is I write a paragraph per chapter, what's in that chapter, and I'm on the 3rd one. But see, if you notice, if you scroll down and see in red is stuff that I need to work on, that I've leave myself a note that I need to work on stuff. It's supposed to be they try. There you go. All right. Let's save that. So if you notice, if you scroll down here, look, I have it outlined. Now these 2 chapters are done. I've already got the ending completed of the whole series, but I just haven't written down what they're about. But they are finished. Well, I say finished, they're mostly finished. The endings are kind of done. But anyway, so 33 through 38 is right here, and I don't even have it outlined. I kind of know what's going to happen, but what I'm going to be doing the next few days for Fury, the reason why I left myself a lot of time is because I've got to go back and make sure that I hit all of the payoffs and all of the tie-ups in the entire series, and I put it in these 6 chapters. Now, 6 chapters is quite a bit to put that in. I've already done some of it, so another thing I got to do is I've got to go back and research everything that I've already tied up, and then finish tying up the rest here. And then just to prove, J.K. Rowling always said that she finished the last chapter, and I never really believed her because she would make stuff up on the fly, and I could tell, being a writer, I'd be like, oh, you just made that up. But just so that full disclosure, let me move this out of the way. I keep coming with stuff. Okay, so let me go back to my edit file, and I will show you that. See, there's Sacred Land there. There it is. And see, you can see that I've written some of it, and then there's Aftermath, and it's not quite complete, but you can see that I'm kind of scrolling fast and I want you to read it. But done. It's kind of a double thing. The character saying done, and it's also the whole series is done. But anyway, so you can see that yes, I actually did write what I wanted to happen in the last couple of chapters. I just didn't. I just need to flesh out the chapters. I need to write all the minutia stuff in them. Sometimes I do that all for like the ending because I don't know exactly everything I'm going to put in these chapters. So I leave it open a little bit so that leave myself room to come back in there and replace or to bolster it and build it up. Because I don't know exactly what I'm going to put in there. So I just know what I want to be in there. And same thing with this one here, this new direction. You can tell that it's not a very long chapter because it's not fleshed out. But anyway, so that's where I'm at on Fury. So now, the whole reason for me bringing this up is because this is the last book of the epic fantasy, and so I'm like, this will be my first complete, totally complete fantasy series. So I decided to put off Gray Mage and White Mage a month so that I could finish this book and get this finished, and that way I can come out with a box set to promote. So the cover reveals. Why is this no way? All right, so I'll do a cover reveal real quick. Undead Inheritance, if you haven't seen it, that's not it. That's the interiors. That's the covers. Undead Inheritance cover looks like this. This is the new rebranded version. Okay. When you look at it this way, this is the front cover that's like in the ebooks. It has the number of the book here, and then it has this. You might think that, oh, this is slightly uncentered or not centered. If you look up here, this is centered, and it is centered. The reason why it looks this way is because this is also the cover that goes on the print covers, and part of this, like this part right here, is cut off, like past this little, just a little bit past this line, and a little bit past this line is cut off, so it actually does center. And if you look at this is centered, but to me, it looks like there's more space here than here. Of course, this little loopy is as part of it. If you look at the bottom of the E and the bottom of the I, it is centered. It just looks quite slightly uncentered to me, but it's not. If you look at the shield here in the top, you can see that it is centered. It just looks a little strange, but I'm very pleased with this. I gave her a shield that I saw that I liked with a skull on it, and I really wanted that as the cover, and she did a great job on putting that on here. I didn't give her this particular picture, but I gave her the style I wanted. And of course, if you really want to look at what the whole thing looks like as in the print cover, it looks like this. Boom, there it is. That's the cover. It looks spectacular. It looks great. All right, so that is Undead Inheritance. So the one I'm doing now, Fury, when I got this cover in the other day, I thought, I need to go ahead and move the other two books slightly because I still have a goal to get those done, but I need to go ahead and finish this one because you see how close I am to being done. I'm 6 chapters away. All right, so here's Fury of the Lich, and yes, it's pretty scary looking. I love it. It's great. Let me get rid of that part. All right, and my map is in the background and stuff. How to do that? That's why you see this Trigothia in here. That's it's part of the map. So, and then of course, if you want to see the full cover with the print cover, what's going to look like? It looks like this. Oops, let me get this where you can see it. Looks like this. Perfect. All right. This is before she put the blurb on the back, but it looks great. All right, so that being said, the reason why I'm barreling to get done with the series here is because of this. I can do this. Right here. Okay. So there it is as the box set. So that brings Shadows of Yesterday, The Howling Path, Serpent in the Mist, Seer of Shadows, Undead Inheritance, and Fear the Lich. There's the whole complete series. So I am 6 chapters away from this. So that's what prompted me, and I'm hoping that you understand, those of you who are waiting for the Tournament of Mages stuff. This is what prompted me to go ahead and finish this last chapter. I didn't realize I was so close when I scheduled the other 2 books. I was like, oh, I didn't realize I was this close, but I am. So all I have to do now is I have to go back and look at the the tie-ups, and it's kind of a hard. It's kind of a. I gave myself 2 weeks to do it. The 6 chapters, when I can write a chapter a day. Actually, I gave myself 4 weeks. I said 2 weeks. I think 3 to 4 weeks, but I can do it in 2 weeks. Is my point. I can do it in 2 weeks because it doesn't take me long to write the chapters, and then I have to go back and edit and stuff. The hard part is going back and making sure everything's correct, and then I'm not making up new stuff, and not tying up old stuff. So if you're wondering what it's going to look like now, some places don't accept this box set as a 3D box set. So what that will look like is something along the lines of this. If you like go on Kobo or somewhere and you want to look at it, it'll probably look something similar to this. Although this is just my concept. This is what I consider what's called a flat box set cover. This is a 5x8 book cover, and it just has all the book covers in it. I just kind of threw them on there and kind of put the map in the background. This is not what's going to end up being, because I just kind of threw this together. I just wanted to kind of see what it looked like. So it'll be something similar to this, except all the books will be lined up better and stuff, and then have different heights and things like that. But there's the whole series, all 6 books. So I'm 6 chapters from finishing all these. And this is the new branding, and I think it looks great. I think they look awesome. But compared to the old covers, which like the one behind me up here. Anyway, so that is what I'm working on. That's why it's taking me 11 days to make another YouTube video. I don't know, my subscribers are up and down. I hovered around 283 right now. Then I noticed it went to 282. And then like yesterday went to 281. And I said, well, I better jump on there and tell everybody what I'm doing, just so that the algorithm and everybody knows that, hey, I'm not forgetting and neglecting my YouTube stuff. I actually am working on stuff. And I think maybe I don't know if this is true. Sometimes you just lose people because they, for whatever reason, they leave their YouTube account, or they, it's a dummy account, whatever. I don't really know. But the point is, since I'm so small, I see every uptick and downtick, since my channel is so small. So I just wanted to make a video and show you guys what I'm doing. And I'm still planning on doing when I start working on Gray Mage, I am going to work on doing it in real time, and showing you the work as I'm going. I could do that on Fury of the Lich, but I'm pretty much done with it. So I just have 6 chapters, so it really, I don't think it would be all that interesting. Maybe it would be. I don't know if you guys would want to see that or not. Me working on finishing this up. I don't know. Let's see here. Oh, I actually closed the wrong. I closed the wrong window. I always do that. Back in the old days when the computers were slower and you had too many windows open, your computers would slow down. So now I'm in the habit of closing windows, and even though this computer is like way able to handle it, could probably open 100 windows and it wouldn't even affect it. I'm still in the habit of closing it. So I don't know. Would you guys be interested in seeing me work on finishing up? I guess I could show you some of the stuff when I'm finishing up Fury of the Lich. What I might do is I might film me. Well, it would be really boring. I guess I could explain me editing the way I edit a chapter. Here, let me pull it back up here, and I'll share the screen again, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. I think it would be probably boring, but you guys might like it. I don't know. All right, so this is chapter 3 that I'm working on. And what I do is I have the chapters individually pulled out of the book. What I do is just to make sure that you can see it. Let me reshare. I have a file that I keep Yeah, I keep multiple files, and as I explained in my how I organize my novels video, I do this for redundancy because I want to have plenty of redundant places where I have the chapters in case the hard drive fails or the cloud fails, or I also keep redundancies like on you can't really see it, maybe I can't pull it up because it's plugged in, but I have external hard drives that I keep work on. And it's just redundancies because I learned the hard way. When you have an 80K or 85K novel and you lose it, it's devastating. If something happens, electricity goes off, whatever, and you've lost all that work, oh my gosh, it's heart wrenching. So it happened to me one time. Ever since then, I've done multiple redundancies. I don't like having like one chapter in one spot. I don't do that. So I have it here. This is what I call the individual chapter file. I keep this in the file with the edit file and all that kind of stuff. And so the other reason why I do this is because when I click on these individually, all of them, and there's the new chapters. When I click on these individually, I get this. Whoop, I stopped sharing. I get this, and it gives me a lot of information. One of the things is I know that this chapter is 17,000, not 17,000, 1,772 words. All right. And so as I'm writing, I can see where I'm at as far as word count goes. So I can keep my word count where I want it to be. All right. So what I do is when I'm editing this is, first of all, when you have individual chapters, it seems like the AI in Word, if that's what you can call it, the grammar checkers and speller checkers, and they work better for some reason in individual chapters. So these blue lines means that they think there's something wrong with it. So this says Verrill was often scouting, but he watched him for signs that he too might be leading them in a wrong direction. Sorry, I can't read today. Okay, and see, it gives me the suggestion, the wrong direction. And see, actually, I like that better, so I'll accept it. So Verrill was often scouting, but he watched him for signs that he too might be leading them in the wrong direction. See, that sounds better. So I do like that. So I took that suggestion. Most of the time, when Word gives you a suggestion, it's something really stupid and off the wall. And it's like, what the heck? Sometimes it means that your grammar is incorrect, that the way you've written it is not recognized that as being a grammatical way of writing a sentence. And as soon as I change the sentence to be more grammatical, when that happens, okay, he didn't know how the city of Annisport looked before, but it was definitely dark and foreboding now. All right, the Word doesn't like you to use adverbs like this. They always want you to change this to dark, like he didn't know how the city of Annisport looked before, but it was dark and foreboding now. See, that's okay. Definitely is one of those filter words I've talked about before. You can have it too many times. Definitely this, definitely that. And it really does hurt your work if you do that. But in some instances, I want it there because I want to emphasize, because definitely is an adverb and it's a descriptor word. So I want it to describe the dark, that it's definitely dark, because it does two things. Definitely is a finite, makes it feel finite. Another thing that it does is that when you use the word definitely, it makes it seem more, it puts more emphasis on the dark, because that's what it does. It's a descriptor word. All right. Let's see. I'm calling it an adverb. It might not be an adverb. Let's see. You didn't know how this looked before, but it was definitely dark and foreboding now. Definitely dark. That's a noun. So it could be an adjective. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. The point is that I want to leave it in because I like that. Before, but it was definitely dark and foreboding now. That means that it wasn't before, and it makes it, it gives it more emphasis. So a lot of cases, I'll go ahead and take out the adverb or adjective where it wants me to, because it's trying to follow the writing conventions. And almost every creative writing class or group that I belonged to back in the day before I got my English degrees, they always talked about going through and taking out all the ly words and taking out adjectives and stuff. But you don't want to do too many of that. I used to do the less is more kind of writing, and nowadays I'm older and more experienced. I tend to not want to go too bare bones because I think it causes. I found that it causes readers to misunderstand things. Like, and I've taken out some regional stuff. Like, for example, in Texas, when someone says something and you don't quite understand what they're saying, you will say, "What's that?" They'll be like, "Blah blah blah." And say, "Oh, what's that?" You know, and you're asking, "What did you say?" And so I put that in my novels a couple of times, and I got a reviewer one time that reviewed just the sample. She didn't even read the book. She just reviewed the sample, gave it a 1 star, which irks me. If you don't go on Amazon and review a book from the example. If you don't like the example, just move on. You know, the sample portion. I only review books that I've read, and I rarely do that. But don't review books off of the sample. That's ridiculous. So anyway, she reviewed it off the sample, and she misunderstood it completely. What she did was she read one part where the character is carrying the Laura Dane, which is the dragon stone, allows them to teleport. And of course, they know what that is. And so when she got to the other place with the other character, she said something, and the other character said, "What's that?" And she misunderstood and thought that she was asking what the stone was. And she goes, "Well, in the other part of the thing, she told her what the stone was. You know, now she's asking her what it is." Okay, she was not asking her what she was holding, the dragon stone. She was asking her what she said. So I had to go back in the book, and I changed that and made sure that I changed every instance of "what's that" to "what did you say?" or "I didn't catch that," or something like that, so that it would be clear that the person was saying what was she saying and not what was she holding. And so, but anyway, it just irked me because I got a review. Not only did I get a review of a sample of one of my 1 star review, but she completely misunderstood what the characters were even saying because she's only getting a sample. She didn't have the context of the full version anyway. So anyway, neither here nor there. Let's move on. So a lot of times this won't catch stuff like that. So here we are, another one. This is another one. If you just if you're using Word, this is one of the reasons I like Word. I use Scrivener too, but and Scrivener does this as well. Don't get me wrong. And I like Scrivener, but I don't know. I keep gravitating back to Word for some reason. I always come back to Word. I edit in Atticus and in Vellum, but I not edit, but I format. But I always come back to writing in Word for some reason. All right. So, they wanted to change that. I said no. Okay. The gate. Yeah, this process does take. I'm not going to go through this whole thing of the process, but yeah, it takes a while to edit. The gate. And another thing is when you read out loud, you can hear if your words are clunky or not. The gate they were to sneak through, and of course, it's fantasy, so it is going to be kind of weird. All right, the gate they were going to sneak through was made of wrought iron, but a section of it had given away. Okay, let's see, but a section of it had been given away to some long ago accident. See, that doesn't work. That whole sentence doesn't work. So that's one of the things where I would change it. All right, so let's see. The gate. Yeah, this is not a good sentence. At the gate, they were to sneak through the wrought iron, but a section of it had been have been, I would say, torn away, not given. Okay, so the gate they were to sneak through was made of wrought iron, but a section of it had been torn away from some long ago incident and was never repaired. Okay, so it's better. The gate they were to sneak through was made of wrought iron, but a section of it had been torn away from some long ago incident and was never repaired. Okay, see, much better. I don't know. See, that's another thing. When you write, you'll write something because you're trying to get your words in, and I do write extremely fast. And so I wrote that, and then now I come back and read it, I'm like, yeah. So that's what I mean by smooth over. If you see my notes and it says you need to go back and smooth this over, what I mean by that is what I just did. It means some of that writing was clunky. You need to go back in and fix it, make it flow smoother. The gate they were to sneak through was made of wrought iron, but a section of it had been torn away from some long ago incident and was never repaired. Uh, They do a little bit better. Okay. The gate they were to sneak through was made of wrought iron, but a section of it had been torn away from some long ago incident and had never been repaired. There we go. Okay, now it's better. Now, this is a present tense sentence. So it's not passive. The gate they were to sneak through was made of wrought iron, but a section of it had been torn away from some long ago incident and had never been repaired. So they're seeing it in real time now. So it's in present tense, which is what I want it to be in. And even though I'm using was and were, it's not passive voice. So see, I could even put the gate they were going to sneak through. Let's see, then it starts getting a little wordy. The gate they were to sneak through was made of wrought iron. The gate they were about to sneak through. The gate they were about to sneak through. The gate they were going to sneak through was made of wrought iron, but a section had been torn away. That's not what I'm going to say. Okay, so I might further edit that later. Right now, I'm going to leave it this way because I don't want to put too many words. I don't want it to be too wordy. So I think that most readers would, the gate they were to sneak through, I think they would understand that. The gate they were about to sneak through, the gate they were going to sneak through. I don't know. I'll think about that one and come back to it. But you can see that when I do have one, when I do find a sentence like this, that's weird, I do linger on it for quite a while until I get it where I like it. If it still bothers me, which that does bother me a little bit still, what I'll do is I'll leave it the way it is now, and then I'll come back to it. I'll read through this again later. Okay, beyond the gate was a high wall stone. I'm seeing how to do all that. Okay, so here we have the walls of the nearby houses and buildings. Probably want to change that. Yeah, appeared to be covered in black mold or some other unsavory fungus. Unsavory. That sounds like food. Unpleasant. See, shade. Let's see. I'm going to change it to a different word because I don't know. Savory. When I think of savory, I think of food. So let's see. Appeared to be covered in a black mold or some other nasty fungus. That sounds good to me. Nasty or dodgy sounds too British. Some dodgy fungus, unpleasant, shady city. I don't know. I like nasty. Let's see how that reads. The walls of nearby houses and buildings appear to be covered in a black mold or some other nasty fungus. Yeah, because black mold is nasty. It's not just unpleasant. You could be a little bit more, a little bit less punch and say, let's see, the walls of the houses and nearby buildings appeared to be covered in a black mold or some other unpleasant fungus. Yeah, that doesn't sound strong enough. Unpleasant, horrible, awful. You know, these. Yeah, that's a good one. So I like nasty. Now, again, these aren't set in stone. I might come back and change it later. It depends. All right. So now, if you notice, if I save here and I look back, except for the one that I discounted here, the definitely dark, I wanted to keep the definitely. I don't have any more blue. So now I'll just read through it, make sure everything flows correctly. Here's another one. He looked her direction. It's probably he looked in her direction. See, I like that. So creature through the scream. He looked in her direction. Yeah, there we go. He looked her direction. Looked in her direction. Yeah. I think it's better with in with the preposition there. So anyway, let's see. I fight for Jack and I kill you in the name of my master. See, there's a mistake here. That's why you got to read through all this. And I didn't like that sentence anyway. I'll probably change it. There we are warded against shadow. So this, okay, in fantasy, there's gonna be words like sheathed or resheathed or warded or knocked, like knocked an arrow or notched. You know, and word's gonna not like those. Word's gonna be like that. This is one of those things when you're warded against the shadow. This means that there's some sort of spell. I can tell you that word is not going to understand what I'm talking about. So it's trying to change to a warded. They are warded against the shadow, and it doesn't work. So gave, given, bestowed. So it's confused there. You're going to get that when you write fantasy. In writing in any program, Word, Scrivener, all those, because it doesn't understand that I do want the word warded. We are warded against the shadow, meaning that they have maybe a rune or a spell or something that's keeping them safe. And so I do want that word and not awarded. So some of these things like you'll come across there, that's something like I'm not going to change, of course. Easily, I said. Okay, this is see, here's another. Oh, I see what it's trying to do. It's trying to complete the quotation. So I was about to say that was a mistake, but it's not. Easy, I said. So I just missed a quotation mark there. All right, so now that I've fixed all those except for this one here. Assuring Gannis wounded, wounds cleaned and field dressed. Okay, and see, it wants to change to the field dressed. Again, this is one of those places where I don't want to say the. Ashura had Gannis's wounds cleaned and field dressed by the time Beryl returned. Okay, see, so that I want it to be filled. I don't want to change that. So again, that's something that's technically grammatically incorrect word thinks. So it's flagged it. Is there any way you could, okay, see, those words are together and they shouldn't be together. So that's perfect. Is there any way you could get us some water? Okay. Beryl and Ashura was at his side, were. Yeah, because you're talking about two people. Beryl and Ashura were at his side. Give me a moment. All right. Okay, Beryl and Ashura, those are singular. Where is plural? Where is it? Subjunctive mood, maybe? Okay, Beryl and Ashura were. Okay. Beryl and Ashura were. Okay, I get it. Okay, it is were. All right. I have to think about some of that sometimes. I have to go through all my rules in my head. That is correct. Okay. All right. So, and there's some I missed here. Gas is injured, he heard. Sure, seeing that should be capitalized. That's correct. Before you could fell the, see, that's supposed to be feel. Okay. See, when I don't go, I see. I think when I in my mind when I wrote this, I think, oh, it's all done, and I try to do it as a first draft. So if you ever read one of my first books, when I'm trying to get, okay, let me explain this better. Sometimes I'll do pre-orders, and the pre-order deadline is coming up. Sometimes I don't have time to go back and re-edit stuff because the deadline's coming up. And the way that especially Kindle KDP works is they give you 3 days before, and it's a hard deadline, meaning that it doesn't, there's no flexibility in it. So what happens is you're writing and you're completing something and you're coming up to the wire. It's usually, in my time, it's 7 p.m. on the 3 days before it's released. And if I'm still editing during that time period, I can't catch everything because at 7 p.m. it's a hard deadline. I've got to submit the final manuscript at that time. And then when it's released, then I can go in and change it with the new manuscript, which is what I do. So what happens is sometimes there are people who will pre-order it and they'll get that first draft. Basically, it's kind of a second draft, and it'll be like part of the book, and they'll see typos like I was just fixing. They'll see typos like that, and it'll be in the final one they get that they pre-ordered. But the day it comes, the pre-order, see, I still work on it. I upload whatever I have, and then if it's like I was with Green Mage, and then I still work on it and fix everything. And then the very first day that it uploads, that it releases, I go in and upload the new version with the typos fixed. That's one of the reasons why I was talking about earlier that I've moved Gray Mage and White Mage away a little bit, because I want to, and I'm giving myself more time on that because I don't like that. I don't like when I come up to the wire and I can't get everything edited, or my editor doesn't get back the work from her, and I have to upload a flawed version because everybody that pre-ordered it's going to get that flawed version, and they might think that, oh,
he made a lot of mistakes, but actually all those mistakes are fixed in the very next version. Because what you're getting is you're basically getting a second draft instead of the final draft. So that's another reason why I moved Gray Mage and White Mage, because I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want a second draft to ever be released ever again as the final book for the pre-order people. I want the pre-order people to get the final draft from now on. So that's another reason I moved things, and that's another reason why I gave myself so much time to finish Fury here, because you can see it takes a while to edit. Now this is the editing that I do myself. After I do this, I try to get as best I can, and then I send it to the editor, and she finds a ton more stuff. And sometimes if I change something, like I just did a second ago, and it doesn't seem right, like instead of using nasty, maybe she wants a different word. She might say something or put a note in there, and it's up to the author to decide whether or not they want to take the editor's advice. But most of the time, the editor's advice is 100% right. The editor doesn't want to change your style of writing. They don't really get into style too much. They're just picking up stuff, mostly depending on what kind of editing you're getting done. But it's helpful. Sometimes there's suggestions. And I tell my editor, especially, I say, hey, if you see anything that's awkward, or you came across it and you read it and you read funny and you don't really like it, and there's a better way of doing it, and you have a suggestion, I tell her, go ahead and suggest. I will take that suggestion. I'm not I don't think that every word I write is my baby. I don't think every word I write is perfect. So I welcome changes like that. As a matter of fact, one of the things that I was going to talk to you guys about too was I really need some dedicated beta readers. As I produce more and more work, and I'm getting more and more books out there, I need to give myself a little bit more time and have beta readers. I've tried to do this in the past, and I do have a couple of beta readers, but I don't really have that many. And the ones, when I try to just pick them up off the street, like do an ARC group or something like that, what happens is I get people that don't know my work very well, or they're not really in my genre or whatever else, and they come back, and when they do come back and they actually return the manuscript, it's I usually have to talk to them a long time and explain things. And then once I explain how things work within my writing and the story, then they're like, oh, okay. Because a lot of times, here's what happens. I'll just explain it. What happens is, this is a fantasy series. So I do not put everything that's going to happen in the whole series in the first book. That would be ridiculous. You can't do that. I can't. So my characters in the first book are just starting off, and they're not very well rounded. They haven't been through their arc yet. They're like, my main character is kind of dumb. He does stupid stuff, and he makes bad decisions because it's the first book. He's going to grow throughout the series. So a lot of times beta readers and arc readers will read the first book in the series and go, this character's not very believable. Or this character, that's not what they say. I don't say it's not believable. They say this character is really gullible, and he falls for everything that the secondary characters say, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, yeah, because it's the first book. He doesn't know anything yet. So yeah, he's just kind of going by what they're telling him, and that's what I have to explain. I'm like, well, he is, dumb because he's young and he has no experience, and he's just starting out, and those guys are experienced, and he's listening to what they're telling him because he doesn't have an opinion of his own, because he doesn't have a frame of reference. So he's listening to what they're telling him, and he's reacting that way, and that's why his decisions seem horribly bad. But later on, when he starts figuring stuff out, he will make his own decisions. But you don't do that in the first book, because I wouldn't have anything to write. I wouldn't have any story arc. I wouldn't have any character development. That's another thing I get sometimes with the first book. I'll get someone come back and say, oh, they need more character development. Well, it's 5 books long. The character develops over 5 books. So what I need someone that has the mindset to understand that when you're reading the first book, it's like reading the first chapter almost of a book. The whole story is told over, in this case, 6 books. So there's going to be some stuff in the first book where, yeah, he's going to make mistakes. He's going to be flawed because he hasn't learned any of the life lessons yet, or she. And so, it's basically, you have to look at the 5 books as one book. instead of looking at, you know, each individual book as a part of their life. So anyway, I have a hard time finding people that can do that, that can understand that it's a serious. Anyway, what I'm trying to get at is, if you guys want to, if there's anybody out there that wants to be my dedicated ARC, and let me tell you the difference between ARC and beta reader. A beta reader is someone who again, they'll catch stuff like you said his eyes were brown on this page, now you're saying they're blue, or you know, inconsistencies in the story, or plot holes, character development mistakes, things like that. They're not really trying to fix my writing. All right. An ARC group is an advanced reader. You get advanced reader copies, or there's other words for it, but it's advanced reader copy is what I think of it as. What it means is, when I get done with the book, I send the ARC group the book, and they read it, and they give me feedback on it, and usually they'll give a review ahead of time before release. Hopefully a very good review, because the whole point of an ARC group is to get an advanced copy so that you can read it and you can give a review when on release day. So I am looking for beta readers. Beta reader is someone who will get an advanced copy and you'll be able to read it, but I will go back in and make changes based on what you're saying, potentially. Whereas an ARC group it should be finished, and you're reading it for an honest review. Like, so that when it debuts, it has some reviews, and it's not just opening up to zero stars or whatever. So if any of you want to be a beta reader and you want me to send you an advanced copy so that you can read, and you know, if you want to do that, I'm looking for people to do that. So what you need to do is go to the About section in YouTube here, and you'll click down, say for business use only email. Click on that. It'll ask you, like, if you're a person and not a robot. Click on that, and then my email address is right there. So just email me that you want to be a beta reader or an ARC reader, and I will put you on the list. And then when I get ready, like when this book is done, I can send you some advanced copies. Either tell me if you want to be an ARC reader, or if you want to be a beta reader, or you want to be both. An ARC reader, if you've listened to the video this long, then you probably would be good as an ARC reader or a beta reader. If you want to be both, you can put I want to be both. If you want to be just an ARC reader, put down ARC. If you want to be beta, which means you get a copy, but okay. If you're a beta reader, you'll get a copy and you'll give me feedback before I publish, and I can change things if I need to. If you're going to be an ARC reader, you're going to get a final copy in advance before it releases. And then when it does release, all I ask is that for the free copy that I gave you, that you read it and you give a review, so that I open up to several reviews. So if you want to do that, let me know. You can let me know in the chat too, or in the comments, but it's better just to email me. All right, back to the editing. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up because it's probably getting long. You can see what I did. Now, and another reason why I'm going to go back to my own editing is because, as you can see, this was very slow talking about it. But I do this, as you can imagine, really fast on my own when I'm just sitting here thinking. I'm not having to explain what I'm doing. So it goes a lot faster that way. So I'll probably do it that way. But yes, I definitely need, I'm in desperate need of ARC readers and beta readers that I can trust. And what I mean by that is I want a dedicated group that I can send to every time. All right, but anyway, I would love to have some of you join in and become beta readers or ARC readers or both. Anyway, so I'm going to wrap this up now. I'm going to go ahead and pop off of here and go ahead and finish this up, and so I can get back to it. I only have a few. It's almost 3 p.m. now, and I don't want to make sure that I get through a few chapters today, because like I said, I've got a finite time that I'm working on this stuff. But anyway, so I guess like, subscribe, share, all that kind of stuff. I don't usually say that. I don't push that because, you know, like I always say, I want this to be like a conversation and like I'm talking to a buddy or a friend or whatever. I don't really like to push all the standard. It irritates me to no end when I'm watching videos and they're constantly promoting stuff or constantly telling me to like and subscribe. It's like, I am subscribed. That's why I'm here. You know? So anyway, I will let you guys go, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you very much.